just sitting here alone all by myself. I'm not just gonna stand here and wait. I wanna just decide what is to be my fate. Alone all by myself, I'm not just gonna stay here and wait.
Okay, folks, I was muted and I have one bar. So if I start roboting, please let me know. Welcome to our first week in review show. I'm Jim Finch. I'll be here to guide you through the week of news of freaks, weirdos, First Amendment auditors, and of course, Glenn Serio. Tonight, we're going to take a look at the week that was Sunday, May 19th, 2000. And I'm roboting, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, folks, we may call this one early if I'm still roboting. DirectD wins Saturday's GoFundMe crown. In another surprising result for a week that saw more letdowns than gains, Christopher DirectD Ruff finished the week by taking the GoFundMe crown for both the day and the week with another win after a single donation of $125 for his Clear His Name fund. As usual with DirectD's donations, there is no rhyme or reason behind the motivation for the changes, as he did not provide links to his GoFundMe on his single released YouTube video on Saturday, a recycled video from Sean Randall Thomas. Strangely, DirectD recently scrubbed his main YouTube channel of his extensive collection of live streams, including his most recent 4-hour live stream that failed to make any difference in his crowdfunding campaign. DirectD apparently has joined the likes of Glenn Serio and others who have taken up the practice of privatizing live streams following completion of the stream. While privatization ultimately robs the YouTubers of ongoing viewers and revenue, the practice prevents the unwanted reuse of the live videos by other YouTubers. With so many police departments interested in DirectD's direct statements towards his ongoing cases, the YouTuber may have also decided to privatize his live stream collection for his own protection. DirectD still has at least one active warrant for his arrest after skipping a court hearing in Mesa, Arizona last year. Regan Benson attacks judge again. The always pleasant Denver-based advocate for the homeless, Regan Benson, attacked Denver County Judge Barry Schwartz on Saturday with a new endearing YouTube post calling the judge an idiot psycho judge and claiming he's got some problems in his brain. Benson was commenting on Schwartz's alleged comments he made towards Benson in a recent scheduled court hearing for Eugene Bennett Chamberlain, a man convicted of an attack on Benson in 2021. The YouTuber was angered by Chamberlain's continued skipping of court proceedings and Schwartz's apparent unwillingness to punish the defendant for his lack of appearances. Detailing in an alleged recent court appearance by Chamberlain in Schwartz's court, Benson commented, "My attacker brought a scantily clad girl to court a few months ago. She stood up in the gallery and started blowing kisses to Barry while performing a booty shake for him. He must have liked it. It's working for her man, Bennett Chamberlain, of whom it's well known on the streets for sexually abusing while keeping them content on the dope. This is all right up and clearly under Schwartz's robe." The post by Benson continues a disturbing pattern of harassment displayed by the YouTuber in recent days after she was charged with harassing a security guard at the Inglewood, Colorado Public Library after filming herself threatening and harassing the man in the course of his duties at the library. More recently, in a bizarre live stream posted to her YouTube channel, Benson attended a public meeting in Inglewood, Colorado with sidekick Christopher Denver Metro Audits Cordova. The pair spent the entire meeting filming Inglewood City Council member Steve Ward, with both YouTubers' camera focused on Ward, who was sitting silently listening to the meeting. The pair attempted to follow Ward after the meeting, then extensively criticized Ward, who recently appeared on the Frauditor Troll show, for leaving without acknowledging them. During that live stream, Benson essentially proclaimed herself immune to arrest, as no police officers in the area would dare attempt to arrest her for any reason due to the past negative encounters that they've had with her. Denver Metro Audits recently threatened to hold a public recall of Ward at the Inglewood City Council meeting, despite not living in the city. This is a developing news story. The return of Glenn Serio again. As if summoned by a recent GoFundMe article discussing his retirement, YouTuber Glenn Serio began releasing a new series of live streams on his YouTube channel on Friday. In some of the newly privated videos, Serio was seen driving his car in Everett, Washington, with a disgruntled person in his passenger seat, chastising Serio for recklessly driving. At multiple times in one of the live streams, the passenger had to remind Sirio to stop before hitting stationary traffic, cursing at him for spending too much time talking to his viewers instead of paying attention to the road. Sirio, strangely, repeated apparent mantras of, "I beat my charges with prejudice," "The cops can't stop me from filming no more," and "How do you like that, trolls? I beat the charges," during his live streams. Despite Sirio's new claims, there doesn't seem to be any activity in his court records indicating that he indeed beat the charges. He has also filmed himself using the same phrases in lives before, as he seemed to be bewildered by what to say on camera. YouTuber Tella Klein tracked Sirio down to an Everett, Washington 7-Eleven store, where Sirio seemed perplexed by her questioning and quickly fled the scene. We will be monitoring the situation, as Sirio has gone live several times this weekend. DeCastro attacks Darcy in latest address. There were no real surprises in Jose Chile DeCastro's latest address on Saturday, as he compared his current incarceration with anti-slavery legislation. He then called on his followers to continue to petition the judges involved in his conviction and apparently took a shot at Patrick J. Darcy in the process. Attorney and YouTuber Patrick J. Darcy has been both helpful to and critical of DeCastro's most recent filings. DeCastro's video on the deficiencies in the prosecution of DeCastro's case that resulted in his most recent conviction, for example, was apparently used as a template for DeCastro's appeal document. However, DeCastro has taken issue with Darcy's criticism of his attempts to petition the court and warned that DeCastro could be held liable for the actions of his followers who have allegedly threatened Justice of the Peace Ann Zimmerman for her sentencing of DeCastro to 180 days in jail. After repeating his history of the attempts to ban anti-slavery petitioning in America, DeCastro briefly touched on Japanese internment camps during World War II before reminding his fans that he continues to need them to petition both Justice of the Peace Zimmerman and Judge Michelle Levitt, who is handling the appeal in the case. While not naming Darcy directly, DeCastro went on a rant against men in suit and ties who would discourage petitioning in the case as they have no regard for the law or his freedom and are only after YouTube clicks and views. He continued his attack while claiming that those men have no purpose, while he is guided by the sole purpose of overturning the Supreme Court's Terry versus Ohio decision, which he sees as the cause of destruction of the rights of all Americans as it turns over too much power to the government. DeCastro then claimed that he was only in the Clark County Detention Dungeon because he was arrested for filming a police officer and that people are being misled about their rights to petition on his behalf. The YouTuber urged his fans to ignore negativity as he ended his statement, again urging his fans to petition both Justice of the Peace Zimmerman for his release and Justice Levitt to allow the extension of his appeals brief from the court's rules of 10 pages to an expanded size of 29 pages. A hearing on the extension is scheduled for later this week. Evidence in DeCastro appeal shows George Floyd connection. A newly released document from Jose Chile DeCastro's appeal of his recent Las Vegas conviction for interference in a traffic stop and obstructing an officer showed more evidence that DeCastro indeed will compare his plight to that of George Floyd in his appeal. The motion by DeCastro's lawyer, Christopher R. Oram, seeks to introduce photos of the George Floyd crime scene in comparison to captures taken by DeCastro's video of his arrest by Brandon Bork in March 2023 in Las Vegas. Oram's filing had previously mentioned the similarity of the George Floyd case, as bystanders were not allowed to film in close proximity of the officers who were detaining and later found to have killed Floyd back in 2020. The key difference admitted by Oram is that the officer involved in DeCastro's arrest made it clear that he was not obstructing DeCastro's right to film, but simply asking DeCastro to step a safe distance away from the traffic stop so Bork could work safely in proximity of the stop driver. It is currently unclear why Oram has invested so much time in introducing the evidence of the Minnesota incident involving Floyd, as it has no legal bearing on the Nevada arrest of DeCastro. While inflammatory, it introduces nothing of legal value to the argument that Officer Bork acted inappropriately under Nevada law, resulting in the arrest of DeCastro. The next hearing in DeCastro's appeal is set for May 23, 2024, and centers around a petition by DeCastro to have his appeals brief extended from the court's limit of 10 pages to 29 pages. If you would like to help contribute to the purchasing of documents on behalf of our news stories, please see how to contribute in the scroll below. The cost of the document featured in this news story alone exceeded $12, and all contributions would be greatly appreciated. Glenn Serio continues live stream rampage. New reports from Seattle-based Discord user Touche indicate that Glenn Serio again live-streamed on Sunday while driving recklessly through the Seattle area, taking viewers on a tour of sites associated with his previous crimes in the area. In the now private live stream, Serio took his viewers on to Highway 99 in Linwood, Washington, then to Everett, Washington, where he passed the jail he served 5 days in as part of a plea deal in late 2022. Serio ignored the jail and his time in it, despite reminders in his chat of the terms and conditions of his beating all of his charges that required him to serve jail time and to provide the court with evidence that he received moral counseling. Continuing his tour of Everett, Serio reportedly continued to live stream and drive through the Section 8 area of the city, which is devoted to low-income housing, showing his fans the spot where he was previously pulled over on a reckless driving ticket. The YouTuber inadvertently ended his live stream with a quick drive by the Denny Juvenile Justice Center. Serio, noting that the center was closed on the weekend, claimed that he had suffered bullying at the hands of police at the center as a teenager. He reportedly began blowing through stop signs after that in an apparent attempt to provoke a reaction from police before quickly losing his signal and then removing the stream from public view. We'll have more on Glenn Serio later in the week if he continues to live stream. No winners again in GoFundMe tracking. There were no winners again in Sunday's GoFundMe tracking as all of the major players in the auditing industry failed to connect with their audiences in promoting their ongoing campaigns. Jose Chile de Castro, despite having a live stream on his channel on Saturday by Associated Michael Eline and a 14-minute address to his followers released on Sunday, failed to have his campaigns promoted with direct URLs provided to his audience. Eline's show regularly ignores issues important to DeCastro, especially his fundraising needs, as DeCastro is desperate in need of funding to promote his petty feud with YouTuber Merb and his own products. The attorney regularly ignores DeCastro's needs to instead promote his You Can Be an Attorney Without Law School program to DeCastro's audience. Reaching hundreds of thousands of subscribers more than his own channel, Eline has used every opportunity to make money through that exposure. Brian Hears the Deal Young, another of DeCastro's fill-in hosts, has also routinely ignored DeCastro's campaigns, only briefly touching on DeCastro's products and You Fund Me campaigns, but failing to provide URLs or pitches to help DeCastro in his time of need. Young's status as replacement host may be up in the air as Eline seems to have taken over primary duties as DeCastro's replacement. Young's last appearance on the channel, a poorly received live stream interview with Brandon J. Williams, saw 8,400 viewers in the 2 weeks since its release. With 76 days to go until DeCastro's scheduled release from incarceration, it'll be interesting to see what changes DeCastro will be making to his coverage and if they will result in increased participation in his crowdfunding campaigns. Benson and Cordova rage over Steve and Joe show. YouTubers Regan Benson and Christopher Denver Metro Audits Cordova made individual remarks on Monday's Inglewood, Colorado City Council meeting, rallying against council members Steve Ward and Joe Anderson's recent appearance on the Frauditor Troll show and the apparent planned restriction on filming within Inglewood city buildings. Cordova spoke first, returning to his favorite subject, the public display of pornography in the public library. The YouTuber spoke out against any rules that would prevent full access to pornography on the public computers offered by the library, as he claimed the Supreme Court ruled that the risks of banning pornography cannot outweigh the benefits of preserving the First Amendment. Diving into the pornography versus art debate, Cordova is clearly sided with pornography as a First Amendment issue, raging against even the thought of Inglewood's proposed use of filtering software. Cordova claimed, without citation, that while filtering software is a requirement by law in some areas, it is too restrictive as it prevents the display of women's breasts on breast cancer awareness and National Geographic sites for educational purposes. The YouTuber then turned his attention to a new proposed ordinance by City Manager Sean Lewis that would ban the recording of city employees in public buildings without the express permission to do so by the subjects of the filming. Comparing the ordinance to the corrupt ordinance enacted by the Sheridan, Colorado City Council after several audits by Cordova and others, he warned that if enacted, he will return to audit the Inglewood Public Library and face arrest to apparently challenge the ordinance in court. Finally, Cordova addressed Councilmember Steve Ward and Joe Anderson's appearance on the Frauditor Troll show. The First Amendment auditor stated that while it was the men's right to go on the show under the First Amendment, their appearance, even made outside of their official capacities, was unprofessional and insulting. Cordova vowed to head the recall effort for Steve Ward's seat and promised an easy victory as Anderson or Ward's comments have turned society against them. Regan Benson's comments were blunter and more sarcastic. Addressing the council via the internet, Benson claimed that Frauditor Troll is a foreign national, a Canadian, and a communist. She mocked both men for being duped by an outsider who didn't live in the area, whose commentary they valued more than the average citizen of their community. She dramatically warned against Sean Lewis's proposed ordinance against filming as another stage in turning Inglewood into a totalitarian state where everyone who advocates for fairness or equal purpose under the law would be cast out. Benson attacked Ward and Anderson for using their appearance on the Frauditor Troll show to belittle and degrade herself and Cordova, again calling Frauditor Troll a communist, national, and a Canadian, and promised continued protest until such time that Inglewood shut down public comment. Cordova gave Benson's speech a standing ovation, widely applauding to dead stares from the actual residents of Inglewood who were in attendance. Defense responds to Freeman's lack of response to show cause order. Attorneys for New Mexico's 7th Judicial District replied to James Freeman's recent reply to an order by District Judge Margaret I. Strickland to show exactly why his ongoing lawsuit against the district should not be thrown out for lack of cause. Freeman had previously responded to the judge's orders by refusing to show cause, instead attempting to modify the lawsuit to solve all the problems by asking Strickland to allow him to sue the defendants in their official capacities for declaratory and injunctive relief. The defense essentially picks up on Strickland's statement that all of the defendants have immunity from Freeman's accusations due to their conduct being tied to the judicial process. All conduct attributed to the defendants, they argue, is protected as part of their functions of their jobs. They also argue that the 11th Amendment to the Constitution bars suits in federal court against a non-consenting state brought by the state's own citizens and extends to state officials who are sued for damages in their official capacities. This argument would essentially negate Freeman's request to be allowed to sue the defendants in their official capacities for both declaratory and injunctive relief. While the response posted in Freeman's rebuttal, or finished argument as he failed to address the full request by Strickland, are pending, this case may be headed to a final resolution after nearly a year of litigation. This is a developing news story. No winners for second day of tracking war. The plight of the ongoing GoFundMe campaigns we follow each day was on display again on Monday, as none of the campaigns we follow received donations from supporters of those channels. To showcase the lack of connection between the YouTubers and their audience, let's go through their current campaigns and the last time each campaign received a donation. Christopher Cordova's Defend DMA and the Fight Against Corruption and Oathbreakers Fund stands at a total of $515 out of its $20,000 goal, with its last donation of $50 made 10 days ago. Craig Hendry's To Support Craig's Work Fund stands at $2,467 out of a $4,000 goal, and that has not had a donation in 20 days when it received a $50 donation. Garrett Van Net's Support Press with Rankers Legal Fund campaign hit $2,406 out of a $45,000 goal. Its last donation came 21 days ago and was for $20. Christopher Ruff's Help Christopher Ruff Direct D Clear His Name Fund has been one of the more active campaigns that we follow and has stagnated to a lesser extent from the others, as the fund received a $125 donation 2 days ago. It currently sits at $11,365 out of a $100,000 goal. Jose de Castro's Lawyer Fund Only All Dollars Go to Lawyers campaign, which originally was to provide support to other auditors, but was later absorbed by de Castro's own debt, stands at $20,555 out of a $25,000 goal, with the last donation made to the fund of $5 made 12 days ago. Jose de Castro's Legal Aid Fund Donation Fund Help People Fund is doing slightly better, as it stands at $26,120 out of a $35,000 goal, and last saw a donation 6 days ago with a $10 donation. Jose de Castro's Legal Defense Fund Crime Scene Tape Illegal Arrest campaign is doing the worst out of all the official fundraisers set up by de Castro, sitting at $2,295 out of a $30,000 goal. Its last donation came 11 days ago in the amount of $5. De Castro's unverified Support Delete Laws from the Tyranny He Fights campaign has sat at $311 out of a $20,000 goal for the last 29 days. The last recorded donation was $25. Again, this seems to be a fan-run campaign and not an official Delete Laws fundraiser. Christopher Reeder's Help for Public Safety Fight Fraud Recovered Fund has sat at $3,557 out of an $8,500 goal for over a month. The date of the last donation simply states 1 month and was for $100. Sean Paul Ria's Unlawful Arrest and Constitutional Rights Violation campaign apparently died before it got traction, as it stands at $2,271 out of a $10,000 goal. Its last donation of $10 was made 23 days ago. Sean Paul Reyes' Support the Fight Against Tyranny and Corruption campaign is doing much better than his previous campaign, as the last donation of $25 came 7 days ago. The fund stands at $50,926 out of a $55,000 goal. Sean Paul Reyes' Fund Legal Defense Against Unlawful Arrest Funds sits at $16,311 out of a $20,000 goal, and again has had a $25 donation 7 days ago. Sean Paul Reyes' Help with Criminal Defense Attorney for This Case campaign hit $21,650 out of a $25,000 goal before hitting a complete stop. The fund, which is looking for donations in a case that was apparently dropped some months ago, is still active, but the last donation of $5 came 4 months ago. Finally, Sean Paul Reyes' Help LIA with Legal Fees to Fight Tyrants Lawsuit Fund hit $1,891 out of a $2,500 goal, with its last $25 donation coming over a month ago. We will continue to provide daily updates on these crowdsourcing campaigns right here on ReallyCoolSite.org and the daily Really Cool News live streams. As always, we do have a GoFundMe, which you can see in the scroll below. All proceeds go to keeping the lights on, eating, and writing new stories to feature here on Really Cool site or reallycoolsite.org and on the nightly newscast. Darcy responds to DeCastro threat. Attorney Patrick J. Darcy responded to recent threats by Jose Chili DeCastro on Tuesday in a new video reminding DeCastro that he had been a neutral party, but serves as a defamation attorney by trade and would not hesitate to defend himself legally from DeCastro's slanderous remarks. Darcy was responding to DeCastro's most recently released statement from jail over the weekend, in which he did not name Darcy directly, but did allude to the attorney as being more concerned with clicks and views than the interest of those he represented. DeCastro went on to claim that men in suits Michelle Levitt for his freedom, as they had no regard for the law or that freedom. Darcy addressed DeCastro's examples of successful petitioning of things like the ban of anti-slavery legislation in the 19th century and against laws establishing internment camps for Japanese Americans in World War II as different types of petitioning than DeCastro's calls to petition judges for his freedom. The attorney pointed out that judges are meant to be unbiased and that sentencing is not a popularity contest. Petitioning judges would put their unbiased nature into question, and Darcy warned that while DeCastro was petitioning to have his jail sentence revoked or shortened, it could also be used by those who wanted DeCastro's sentence increased. Reiterating that he had been a neutral party in DeCastro's ongoing disputes and that his videos criticizing DeCastro's legal briefs were intended to help others in similar circumstances to those of DeCastro, Darcy warned that he was indeed a defamation specialist, and DeCastro would need several new lawyers to defend against a possible lawsuit should DeCastro continue to disparage him. This is a developing story. DeCastro has not replied to Darcy's video as of press time. DeCastro gets rare GoFundMe tracking win. While Jose Chili DeCastro was called out on all fronts on Tuesday, a single bright spot emerged in his life as his legal aid fund, donation fund, Help People Fund, received donations for first time in nearly a week. The fund received a $60 donation early in the day, followed by a mid-afternoon donation of $50, bringing Tuesday's tally for the fund to $110, which far outshined any of the other major funds that we tracked to take the crown for the day. In second place came Sean Paul Long Island Audit Riaz with a $20 donation to his unlawful arrest and constitutional rights campaign. This particular campaign had a 24-day drought in donations, and it is unclear why someone picked to donate to this campaign rather than his other more popular crowdfunding campaigns, as there were no discernible links or promotions from Long Island Audit's YouTube channel. Turning back to DeCastro's victory for the day, it was indeed a huge win for DeCastro's fundraising campaigns to be noticed, as again no links were shared, and DeCastro received a huge amount of negative press on Tuesday. Starting off the day, Brian Hears the Deal Young's controversial interview with Paul Unslave saw Young come close to fully denouncing DeCastro as the pair insulted and degraded him in the 10-minute produced video released to Young's main channel. Patrick J. Darcy joined in the drubbing of DeCastro with a response to DeCastro's threats from Monday. DeCastro held nothing back in addressing Darcy held nothing back in addressing DeCastro's spiteful comments and self-sabotaging efforts. Lastly, DeCastro's alternate livestream host, Michael Eline, came under fire from Merb again, this time by refusing to acknowledge Merb's proposals for a legal showdown using a neutral judge. DeCastro's only positive news for the day came in his crowdfunding win and in the report from PDocs that his release date had been updated and he will now be released on August 3rd, 2024. No reason was given for this change. All of the negative interactions have corresponded news stories here on Really Cool News and on ReallyCoolSite.org. As always, we do have a GoFundMe featured in the scroll below. All proceeds go to keeping the lights on, eating and writing news stories to feature here and on ReallyCoolSite.org. In a brief update to this one, we may have had an impact, as late in the afternoon today, DeCastro's associates released an update to his community page featuring links to 2 of his 3 GoFundMes and Press with Ranker's GoFundMe. So far, the take from the 3 has totaled about $20 to a single donation. We will continue to monitor this situation and bring you updates in our report tomorrow. Okay, before we continue, I finally have my internet back properly. Hopefully I'm not roboting too much. Let me know inside chat. I do have a couple prepared remarks, so let's just do the reminders while we're halfway through this one. Tonight we're going to take a look at the week that was Sunday, May 19th, 2024 to Saturday, May 25th, 2024. This week included a lot of news on Turtle Boy, Chili DeCastro, Glenn Serio, James Freeman, Reagan Benson, and a few more. We'll be back with you at our regularly scheduled time tomorrow night for our newscast at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. where it counts, 4 p.m. Mountain, and 3 p.m. on the East Coast. Due to the holiday, there's no Karen Reed murder coverage tomorrow, but never fear, we'll be back on Tuesday at 8:55 a.m. Eastern with our next scheduled day of coverage. Please note that Tuesday is a full day of coverage rather than a normal Tuesday half day. It is rumored that Tuesday will be the only day in session for the court this week, so please stop on by. We'd love to see you. With that, we're going to get back into this one. My internet's back up and going. I'll have some closing comments, but we're halfway through the week. And nobody noticed the pants animation to start this one off. I was expecting someone to at least see it. Oh well. You can go back and find it yourselves. But I'm not telling. Ha ha. Here's the deal, and Paul Unslaved attacked DeCastro. Tuesday saw a move that all but confirms the recent split between Brian Here's the Deal Young and Jose Chili DeCastro, as Young released a produced video on his channel featuring an interview with Paul Unslaved that painted DeCastro in a negative light. The reported trouble between DeCastro and Young started shortly after Young took over live hosting duties on DeCastro's channel after DeCastro's March sentencing to the Clark County Detention Center. Young received immediate negative criticism from DeCastro's fans, as he was far less entertaining than DeCastro as a host and failed to promote DeCastro's crowdsourcing campaigns and product lines. Young's performance as live host for DeCastro saw a slight bump in DeCastro's initial following, but has seen huge drops in viewership since assuming the live hosting role on DeCastro's channel. Young's more laid-back style has not resonated with DeCastro's fans and has apparently turned off DeCastro's critics to the point that even the hate watchers will not tune into Young's live streams on the channel. DeCastro's DeCastro attempted to correct his channel's performance issues by recruiting more flamboyant YouTuber Michael Eline to join as an alternate host to Young in early April. Eline also floundered in the role, as he and Young both either refused to or are incapable of promoting DeCastro's products and GoFundMe campaigns and entertaining DeCastro's live audience at the same time. It has been over a week since Young appeared on DeCastro's channel, and Tuesday's interview with Paul Unslaved seemed like a declaration of Young's negative feelings towards DeCastro's legal maneuvering since his incarceration. Young expressed agreement with Paul Unslaved's assessment that DeCastro could no longer claim to be a constitutional law scholar, as he proved his lack of knowledge of the law by hiring attorneys to handle his ongoing criminal and legal matters. Paul Enslaved was particularly critical of DeCastro's poor attitude about being incarcerated, noting that DeCastro's alleged whining about his circumstances made him come off less than the alpha he portrays in his live streams and more like a follower. Both Paul Enslaved and Young commented that it did not matter if Justice of the Peace Ann Zimmerman had been married to a police officer, because she judged DeCastro's character and found him wanting. The men apparently agreed with Zimmerman's summation of DeCastro's character in the video and suggested that DeCastro stop whining about his circumstances and accept his fate like a man. This was the first observed negative statement by Young, who edited the interview with Paul Enslaved into a 10-minute produced video and apparently confirmed the growing rift between Young and DeCastro. Merb challenges Eline to lawyer off. After refusing a proposed debate on attorney Michael Eline's YouTube channel, attorney and YouTuber Merb challenged Eline to what fans are calling a lawyer-off challenge between the two men on Tuesday, with a $20,000 reward to be split between the winner and a neutral party. Merb made the challenge following days of bantering between the men on their respective channels, with Merb apparently getting the upper hand on Eline with his greater knowledge of the law. Eline's counter of holding a biker fundraiser to benefit the military raised more questions than answers over the weekend, as the exact attendance figures to Eline's military fundraiser have been in dispute. Under Merb's proposal, the two attorneys will each put up $10,000, with a portion of the combined $20,000 going to the hiring of a neutral retired judge who will oversee the competition and hold the remaining money after his fee. Eline will pick the state of origin of the neutral judge from either Texas, California, or Nevada, while Merb will be responsible for hiring the judge following Eline's state selection. Both men will then write a legal brief on the same topic and submit it to the judge at the same time. 1 week later, both men will submit the rebuttal of the other man's argument. The following week, the judge will reveal which man presented the better case and will award that man the remainder of the money, minus the fee for judging the contest, roughly $5,000. Merb made his challenge to Eline on his YouTube channel on Tuesday afternoon, followed by a reminder video posted to his challenge Tuesday night, as Eline had ignored Merb's challenge in a then live broadcast. The California-based attorney also questioned Eline's claims of settling cases for a career total of over $150 million, as Eline would have pocketed at least $50 million from those settlements and could clearly afford the $10,000 wager between the men. Merb also warned Eline that his military service was still in question and that he should send the proposed copy of his DD-214 to Stone Vet immediately to prove his military service. Eline has not responded to Merb's challenge as of press time. De Castro listens to our musings? Say it isn't so. The associates of Jose Chili de Castro apparently have seen and heard our printed and vocal messages that a GoFundMe fund cannot survive without constant promotion, as we were greeted with the following on De Castro's YouTube community page on Wednesday. The links provided went to DeCastro's Legal Aid Fund, Donation Fund, Help People Fund, and his Lawyer Fund only. All dollars go to lawyers, and to Garrett Press with Ranker Van Net's Support Press with Ranker's Legal Fund, and resulted in a single $10 donation for DeCastro's Legal Aid Fund. A second donation of $25 was made well before the community post went live, bringing the fund's tally to $35 for the day and earning DeCastro an easy victory, as none of the other campaigns we follow had any sort of earnings at all on Wednesday. To be frank, it was a mixed victory for DeCastro, as yes, someone in his camp finally listened to our calls and promoted his campaigns, and $10 is nothing to scoff at during the current climate. However, a promotion aimed at his 575,000 subscribers, producing only $10, can only be considered as a failure for the self proclaimed superstar. The post itself had 186 likes as of press time and 157 comments that border more on the negative than the positive. The post should be doing much better with his audience, who are starved for new content from the YouTuber, and puts his actual subscriber numbers into question because the reach DeCastro now into question the reach DeCastro now has since he's been incarcerated. There have always been rumors that DeCastro has bought subscribers. While the rumors were never proven, his drawing power to his live streams and the reactions to community posts and his efforts always put his metrics into question. Even with his argument that the bulk of his subscribers came from viewing his shorts, and short viewers are notoriously unsupportive of long form content, 5% or 10% of his base from those shorts would have translated over into actual channel viewers, and even a small portion of those would have turned into actual cash donors. There's no rhyme or reason for the lack of participation, and it's always been a problem for DeCastro. Unlike auditors such as James Freeman and Long Island Audits, and even DirectD to some extent, who can literally go live in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon and draw thousands of followers, DeCastro struggled to break the 300-person attendance mark before his incarceration. While big events such as his post jailing statements could draw viewership in the thousands, day to day he would struggle to get a number comparable to those put up by other YouTube auditors with a smaller subscriber count. To see this promotion fail so spectacularly, even with the loss of his base viewers scattered to the wind, as he's had no daily content for a while now, puts his true subscriber count into question and may provide an indication that his channel is currently too far gone to produce the money he needs to fight his legal or to fund his legal defense. This is one to watch. Things are bad for Chile de Castro right now, and they may continue to get worse unless he does some sort of stunt while in jail to get serious media attention. De Castro muses on eve of court appearance. The latest address by Jose Chile de Castro to his fans on the eve of his Thursday appeals court hearing offered a mix of bitterness and anger as de Castro declared himself a martyr for the First Amendment and freedom of the press. De Castro's latest rebranding as a self-proclaimed martyr comes as de Castro's demand for mainstream media attention has gone all but unnoticed. Thursday's media coverage will be provided by our Nevada judges, as no other media requests have been filed for the hearing. The recent dissolution of a prominent anti-De Castro channel, which previously provided De Castro near daily news coverage to its limited audience and was the only YouTube channel to consistently stand up to his copyright strikes, hurt more than help De Castro's cause, as well as apparent destruction will rob him of a constant critic. It stopped the wider distribution of De Castro's videos to their larger audience. Going into Thursday's motion hearing, there is simply no buzz about De Castro or his plight. Wednesday's community post reminding De Castro's followers of his dire need for funding resulted in a total of $10 in new donations and under 200 mostly negative comments towards the YouTuber. His meandering message to his followers about historical events that had no bearing on his case robbed him of precious time he needed to get his message out. That his followers needed to step up the pressure campaigns on Justice of the Peace Ann Zimmerman, who is responsible for sentencing De Castro to jail, and Judge Michelle Levitt, who is set to hear his appeal in July. De Castro is still demanding that his followers petition both women for his freedom, despite Zimmerman having no role in the process, as the case has moved on to Levitt's appeals court. While instructing his fans to be respectful in their petitions, it is a clear campaign to pressure both women into doing his bidding or face the consequences for ignoring him once he is released. The YouTuber assured his fans that he would be in attendance for his Thursday hearing and that they would have the opportunity to again see his plight as he would be brought in wearing chains and the outfit of an inmate. The hearing itself is set for the discussion of the hearing itself is set for the discussion of De Castro's attempt to file 187 total pages of materials for his appeal instead of the 10-page standard limit for appeal documents. De Castro seemed enthusiastic at the possibility of the possible outcome of the hearing, as the prosecution had yet to file an opposition brief on Wednesday. This is a developing story. Turtle Boy motion hearing set for Thursday. Thursday's hearing for Aiden Turtleboy Kearney's felony witness intimidation charges has brought a temporary pause in the Karen Reed murder trial as the blogger is inching closer to his own trial on charges related to the case. Originally, Judge Beverly J. Canone, the same judge overseeing the Reed case, was assigned to Kearney's hearings, but had been replaced by Michael A. Calline before April's hearing in the case. Despite Canone being no longer associated with the case, proceedings in Karen Reed's murder trial have been delayed until Friday. This is an established practice by the court as not to influence either trial with a mixing of witnesses in the cases. Thursday's hearing is expected to cover previous motions that had been delayed by the ongoing illness of Special Prosecutor Kenneth Mello. Filings by the prosecution on Wednesday also include that the prosecution will be seeking the return of evidence accidentally given to the defense from the discovery process concerning witness Lindsay Gaiatini's phone. A clone of Gaiatini's phone had been accidentally given to the defense in early April as part of a separate case, which the defense has refused to return to the prosecution. Attorney Tim Bradel provided a copy of the phone's data to Kearney, who then attempted to access Gaiatini's accounts during one of his live streams based on the data he received. It is unclear if this motion will provide relief for Gaiatini, as Kearney has had the data for over a month and has already allegedly distributed it to his associates. Kearney himself has been undaunted by the charges of witness intimidation, openly tweeting insults and harassing statements towards witnesses in the Karen Reed case while sitting in the courthouse as part of the press pool for the case. Thursday's hearing is not expected to change his behavior in the case and will bring Kearney one step closer to his trial, which is expected to be held later in the summer. De Castro finds advertising pays off in Thursday win. Jose Chili De Castro's three GoFundMe campaigns had good days on Thursdays as their overall gains propelled him to a second straight win for the GoFundMe Daily Crown. Sean Paul Long Island Audits Riaz came in a firm second place for the day. between DeCastro's exposure on our Nevada judge's coverage of a hearing for his appeal and his actually posting of his URLs to his fans in a community post, DeCastro managed to take in a combined $135 between the three campaigns. His legal aid fund, donation fund, Help People Fund took in $65 to beat out his other two official accounts on Thursday. In second place out of the three funds came to Castro's lawyer fund only. All dollars go to lawyers campaign, which raised $50. Rounding out the pack, his legal defense fund crime scene tape illegal arrest campaign saw $20 in new donations for the day. Long Island Audit's support the fight against tyranny and corruption took second place in the overall race for the Daily Crown, taking in $50 for the day and moving up to a 93% completion rate, bringing the fund to $50,976 out of its requested $55,000. DeCastro's overall win for the day is his second straight win in a row, and while nowhere near the levels that he had achieved in the past, may be a sign of revitalized support for his campaigns now that his people are actually telling his subscribers where to find his campaigns. As reported on the R Nevada Judge's YouTube channel, Jose Chile de Castro was awarded a minor victory on Thursday at his motion hearing for his appeal of convictions for interference in a traffic stop and obstructing an officer, as he was granted the right to exceed the page limitations on his appeals brief. Judge Michelle Levitt seemed puzzled at the hearing as to the need of said hearing, since DeCastro's attorney, Christopher Oram, had already filed his motion that had gone over the page limit by 19 pages. Oram explained that when he deals with the Nevada Supreme Court, at a hearing is required if he goes over the 30-page limit, and he was following that procedure in this case. Levitt almost immediately granted the limited increase without objection from Deputy District Attorney Alexander Chen. Chen made it clear that he had no objection to any exhibits Oram wanted to add that were presented at trial. When Oram claimed there were new exhibits that he wanted to include that were not presented at trial, Chen changed his mind after initial objection and allowed Oram to include whatever he wanted to file, and the state would deal with it later. Oram indicated that he wanted records preserved in case he needed to appeal the verdict of the July 10th hearing to the Nevada State Supreme Court, which is reflective of his client's desires to take the appeal of the two relatively minor misdemeanor charges all the way to the United States Supreme Court if necessary. Judge Levitt granted Oram's request for the page limit increases and the inclusion of the new exhibits. Protection order issued for data in Turtle Boy case. Published reports indicated that a protective order was issued on Thursday for data accidentally handed over to Aidan Turtleboy Kearney last month containing the contents of Lindsay Gaetini's cell phone. The data was one of the only motions ruled on at Thursday's hearing, a scheduled motion hearing in Kearney's ongoing prosecution for charges related to his time as the leader of the so-called Free Karen Reid movement. Gaetini's data was accidentally given to Kearney's attorney, Tim Bradle, last month as part of the discovery process. Previous attempts to retrieve the data from Bradle had been denied by the attorney, who then apparently shared the contents of the phone with his client. Thursday's order effectively puts on a hold on distribution of the material, which is a key element to Kearney's attempts to have Gaetini's protection order lifted. Gaetini was granted a one-year protection order earlier in the year after an alleged December incident of domestic assault on Gaetini by Kearney. While Kearney was initially charged in that case, the district attorney's office declined prosecution. Other changes to the case came in a new judge, with Judge Michael A. Callaline making his second appearance since taking the case from Judge Beverly J. Cannoni, and the first appearance in this case of Robert Cosgrove, who will be taking over prosecutorial duties for Special Prosecutor Kenneth Mello, while Mello recuperates from a long-term illness. DeCastro again no-shows Bacon hearing. Jose Chile de Castro was again missing from Friday's surprise hearing in his lawsuit against Kate Peter, David Team Skeptic Omo, Daniel Clement, and Michael Blue Bacon Peratini in California's Superior Court. The hearing centered around a request by Peratini's attorney to correct the published order from the May 16, 2024 hearing in the case. Essentially, the court accepted a previous tentative ruling addressing the plaintiff's motion for sanctions/motion to compel as the final order in the court. However, when published, an entire section of discussion involving the awarding of sanctions to Peratini's lawyer was missing. The document abruptly starts with a confusing passage announcing the sanctions without the reasoning behind the awarding of those sanctions. Friday's hearing was essentially to get the court to republish the ruling with the passages included, ending any confusion either side may have over Judge H.J. Ford III's ruling. After reviewing Peratini's attorney's position, the judge indicated that he will review the needed changes and issue a corrected ruling and court minutes. De Castro's presence, as usual, was unnecessary. Dollahide to release some defendants from suit. In a stunning move, attorney James A. Condrey, acting on behalf of Jason Dollahide, released all defendants from Dollahide's ongoing civil lawsuit on Friday, except for Dennis Dickens and the Oklahoma Department of Public Safety. Dollahide filed the lawsuit last year seeking $250 million from the defendants over an incident at a deer watching area at Lake Thunderbird in Oklahoma on August 1, 2021. Dollahide, his wife, and his child were approached by Dickens, who requested Dollahide's identification. Both Dollahide and his wife refused to cooperate with the officer, and several agencies responded to the call for backup by Dickens. All the first responders who arrived at the scene were ultimately named as defendants in the lawsuit. The lawsuit had previously been dormant until March of this year, when the court acted on an outstanding request by Dollahide to file an amended complaint. When Dollahide failed to respond to the order of the court to file the complaint by April 30th, another order was issued, this time with a deadline of May 23, 2024. The order essentially told Dollahide to show cause as to why defendants Vaughn Cannon, Darren Strauss, Harley Rhymes, Joshua Rojas, Colby Hagler, Jonathan Hicks, Shannon Lyon, and Mike Sharp should not be dismissed from the case due to failure to prosecute. Conrady's response releases these defendants from the lawsuit, leaving just Dickens and the Oklahoma Department of Safety subject to his demand for $250 million. An earlier proposed amended complaint, which would have reduced the sought compensation amount to $250,000 plus punitive damages against all the individual defendants in the same amount, was never accepted by the court. Dollahide is currently in custody at the Norman, Oklahoma Detention Center, where he is serving time and awaiting trial on multiple related charges, including charges of assault on a police officer and obstructing an officer stemming from this arrest. Jury selection for Jason Dollahide's remaining cases is set for August 14th, 2024. No winners for Friday's GoFundMe crown. Friday's GoFundMe tallies resulted in goose eggs across the board for all of the funds we cover without rhyme or reason. Again, other than literally no effort on the parts of those involved to promote their campaigns. The sheer laziness of some of the creators is staggering. We currently are long past the time when an auditor could simply throw up a campaign and people would just contribute extraordinary amounts without blinking an eye. In the post-DeCastro jailing world, where even Long Island Audits is struggling to get anyone to throw money at his latest campaign, a fund without promotion and a fund without incentive is dead in the water. As always, looking around on days like Friday, there's absolutely no promotion from any of the creators of their campaigns. DMA, no. LIA, no. DeCastro, no. Hendry, well, he did promote a reminder that he had court, but a plea to his audience for money, no. Direct D, no. And so on, and so on, and so on. If they don't promote their campaigns, the money won't come. I can't say this anymore. If we have goose eggs in the morning, it'll be the same story. Don't mind me screaming when I see those numbers.